When we heard about a company that was revolutionizing blasting, we had to see it for ourselves. The crew packed up and headed out west for a fascinating look at Raptor Blaster. Join us today on Motorhead Garage, because we're going to have a blast.
Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is on the road. We're in Sacramento, California. This is the headquarters of Raptor Blaster, some of the coolest blasting equipment you will ever see. And our friend Rick Hayes is the mastermind behind all of this. Rick, how did you get started in the blasting business?
Well, for about a 10-year period, I was an outside sales rep in the industry and kind of learned the industry. And one of the things that I found that was going on in the industry in sandblast cabinets, there was this big gap between a couple of companies that made very high-end cabinets that were very industrial quality, and a lot of stuff from China and garbage that just wasn't good money spent. And there was a gap in the market, and it was really a need for a cabinet line that is very industrial but at a moderate price. So one day I just decided to quit my day job and start manufacturing and selling the sandblast cabinets.
What are some of those things that you looked and you saw deficiencies in the others that you wanted to make better?
Well, really functionality and how well they blast. There's certain things that we do with our cabinets that create a very functional cabinet. And then just the structure of the cabinet and being able to hold up to 8-10 hours a day and last for over 10 years. Our cabinets are very beefy cabinets that are meant to be blasted in 8 to 10 hours a day and last for 30 years.
What kind of customers are we talking about? Who uses your product?
Anybody out there in any industry that is going to create something out of metal and literally paint it, everything gets surface prepped prior to paint, or anything that gets restored gets cleaned up with sandblasting.
And where are your customers? Are they chiefly in this area here in California, or where do you send your blasters?
Well, when we sell media, which you see behind us, then we have borders and we sell in a specific area. But people buy our sandblast cabinets and equipment all over the country, all over the world, actually.
When it comes to blasting in a cabinet, you guys have everything covered, but now you have all of blasting covered because you have some corporate partners that really work well with you.
We actually started as just a glass cabinet manufacturer, and then we ended up purchasing one of our distributors here in Northern California. And in doing that, we all of a sudden sold everything known to blasting. So we actually have some partners like Schmidt Products that manufactures a line of outdoor blast equipment that we are distributors of and we sell.
We're going to see more from Schmidt Products here coming up, but it's not just the products you sell, but it's the service you give with it.
On my staff, we have over 100 years of industry knowledge that we can guide the customers to the right products and the right media for every job because our guys have seen it. We've done it for years. We know how to educate the customers on how to use the products.
And when it comes to the products, what are some of the needs that folks have out there that you can fulfill that no one else can?
Well, the cabinet line, for one, you've got wet blast cabinets and dry blast cabinets, and the finish that you get with wet blasting as opposed to dry blasting really benefits the auto industry.
Now, I got to meet some of the folks here at the office, and it runs like a family, and it really is a family-run business.
Well, my son Brady actually handles all the production of the cabinets, and in addition, all of our staff are people that I've really put together that share the philosophy of taking care of the customer and making sure every customer is completely happy.
And Brady himself, he's an expert in the business, and he really knows what it's like when it comes to cabinets.
If you need to know how to put the cabinet together and get it to work, Brady's the guy. He puts them all together.
Raptor Blaster cabinets, they're an industrial built cabinet meant to last 20 plus years in a production setting. The most important thing with the cabinets is keeping your media inside the cabinet so you have a clean workspace. The way we do that is with double walled doors. We have adjustable latches for your doors to keep your doors nice, tight, and sealed. Bottom is a screw cap, 2.5-inch screw cap instead of a slide gate that most companies use where dust can leak out of that. And on top of that, there's no seams or no rivets in our cabinet. It's all laser cut and hand welded.
What is it like as an operator to run one of these compared to one of the others?
It's a really comfortable cabinet where the armholes are placed and the angle of the window. It's very easy to see inside the cabinet. The design of the cabinet creates maximum airflow to create great visibility. Paired with one of our 3 dust collectors, you have no problem seeing in our sandblast cabinets.
Well, it's an amazing facility, and we've got a whole lot more to show you when we come back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. And by NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Here at Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, we love hitting the road, and we're having a great time. We're having a blast here with our friends at Raptor Blaster. Rick, we learned about the history of the company and how you have everything when it comes to blasting.
Yes.
But really your marquee product is your cabinets.
We manufacture our own line of wet and dry blast sandblast cabinets.
And so tell me about that. There's two different kinds.
There is.
And we'll get into that, but let's talk about the initial quality of what you roll out of here.
Everything that we manufacture is extremely industrial. We manufacture a line that's laser cut and hand welded, and that means there's no seams and no rivets where the media can escape and fall to the ground. In blasting, safety issues are when you get sandblasting media on the ground and people can slip on it, fall on it. So you want everything contained inside the cabinet.
What are they made of that sets them apart from the others that are out there?
Well, the wet blasters are made of stainless steel and the dry blasters of standard steel, and it's all 14 all the way down to 10 gauge on the door panels.
There's the wet blasting and the dry blasting. Let's talk about dry blasting first. That's what people might be the most familiar with. What are some of the applications for that, and why would you want to dry blast?
Well, dry blasting is a little bit different than the wet blasting in the sense that dry blasting is really prepping the surface for paint, powder coat. You can use glass bead and smooth out a surface, but that's really the strength of the wet blast cabinets. For dry blasting, I tend to like to use that surface prep for paint, powder coat, wet coatings.
And of course, we have an audience of motorheads. So let's talk about the different applications we'd have in the automotive world. When would you want to dry blast something? When would you want to wet blast something?
Let's take, for instance, a hood bracket that you're going to repaint. You want to strip that paint down with the dry blaster because it's simple and there's no water involved in it, and give it peaks and valleys and give it a profile that's going to actually let it adhere, the coating adhere to it better. You're creating more surface area, you're creating teeth, and then we call that a profile. So that's an application where you want to use dry blast as opposed to wet blast.
And what else do you have to do then once you're done blasting it to get it ready to paint or primer?
Really just blow it off with compressed air, and you're ready to paint. Clean the surface.
And if you get something like a carburetor or something inside the engine, talking about a block,
yeah.
I know a lot of people have been very skittish, and you don't want to dry blast that because it's going to etch the actual and take some material off, and you've got tight tolerances in there.
Yeah.
So that is where wet blasting comes in.
So what's really new to the market and kind of new to automotive in general and engine components is wet blasting. And wet blasting has a magic way of taking the same media that you use in dry blasting and actually adding water and then doing what we call a slurry or vapor blasting. And that has a magic way of sending the media at the part and then sideways and giving it a polishing effect. So in the most instances, we use glass bead, which is a round bead and has a peening effect, and we use that in combination with the water, and it completely changes blasting. And what it's doing is it's giving you an OEM finish on aluminum parts, brass, plastic. So any part that you take off of an engine that is aluminum that you want to look OEM new, you can do that very, very quickly in a wet blast cabinet, and then just leave that coating, blow it off with air, dry it, leave it off, and you've got a brand new part.
You've been doing this for a long time, and you told me there's a lot of misconceptions people have about wet blasting when it comes to parts like that, and how do you prove them wrong?
In the automotive industry, everybody's fearful of putting glass bead or any blast media into an engine. And that really stems from the old school of dry blasting. And what you would have happen in dry blasting is the media would go into an area and hit it directly into the part, and it would create it would stick. It would actually fracture and stick in different ports on an intake manifold or a carburetor and get stuck, and you don't want that piece in your engine when you're rebuilding it. So wet blasting is different in the sense that the media gets sent at the part and the water helps it move away from the part kind of sideways, and you're not impregnating the surface of the of the part. It doesn't touch the surface, it flattens it, and the media doesn't stick. So it's very easy to take a carburetor after you've blasted it, rinse it out with water, nothing stuck in it, blow dry it off with air, and you have no issues with putting a piece together and having any media left in the part at all.
Well, that's all you need to know about blasting in a cabinet. There's also applications outdoors, and we'll show you all about that when we return to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. We are on the road, hanging out in Sacramento at the headquarters of Raptor Blaster, and they have a lot of cool corporate partners. You guys at Schmidt Products, Bill, are chief among them. And tell me what Schmidt does that complements everything here at Raptor Blaster.
Schmidt is an old product, been manufactured for about the past 50 years. I've actually been with them for the past 32. Our primary line of equipment is abrasive blasting equipment for the industrial sector, from offshore rigs to shipyards to railcar facilities. Our products vary from dry blasting technology, which everybody in the world has heard the term sandblasting. We have taken it a little bit further in that our technology allows operators to use multitudes of different abrasives, multitudes of different pressures, to give them the ability to blast on just about any surface that they want. We, as a group, specialize in the technology for the blasting. We don't get into the safety gear, we don't get into the blast rooms and cabinets like Raptor Blaster does. So it's imperative for us to partner with trusted people like Raptor Blaster to get our technology into these industrial sectors where our current technology really isn't that well known.
And let's talk about that technology. Wet blasting is really the thing that sets you apart from some of the others out there, and it's a big step. How is it different from dry blasting, and when would you want to wet blast?
Wet abrasive blasting is the term I'm going to use. It is the same process as dry blasting in my level of technology. In the cabinet line, it's a different process. It's a different finishing process. But in our technology, it's all about propelling a particle to change a surface. Be it an automotive part, be it a fender, you're trying to take the corrosion and the paint off of it, and you actually want to gently etch that surface to give it an anchor profile for the coatings to stick to. That's the same thing as dry blasting. But in today's world, dust, nuisance dust, has really become an issue. So there's multitudes of different products out there that allow you to mix the abrasive with water. So as that particle hits the surface and shatters, the water encapsulates 95% of the dust, so it falls to the ground instead of going airborne. What we did when we got into the wet abrasive blasting is that we took the standard Schmidt tried and true control packages for our dry blast, and we designed and implemented a system to allow an operator to have finite control of how much water he puts into his airstream upstream of the blast hose. So as we wet that abrasive, the mixing chamber is actually the blast hose. So you get good saturation with very little water coming out of that nozzle. That's one of the things that differentiates our wet abrasive blasting line, the anti-blast line, from other products that are available in the market. Other products available in the market go by different technology. They actually mix water and their abrasive in the vessel, so they have a saturated abrasive bed that then they extrude out and bring into an airstream for it to go to the nozzle. That technology works, but the fact of the matter is you can't minimize how much water you get. How much water is in the abrasive is how much you get out at the nozzle. And 9 times out of 10, it's more water than is needed to do your 95% dust suppression. With the anti-blast technology, you have finite control of how much water you get out at any specific time. Secondly, one of the advantages in the anti-blast, it's also a dry blast pot. If you want to blast wet, you are blasting wet. If you want to blast dry, shut your water off. And then you have a dry blast pot. So this flexibility gives you the ability to choose, due to your location, whether to blast dry or to blast wet, all on the same technology.
But the water flow is not the only adjustment you can make as well. There's a lot of other things you can do with this to make it more adjustable. Show me what you got going on.
Absolutely. First and foremost, with our Terra valve, you have infinite control on how much abrasive you get out. And the leaner you are on abrasive, the more efficient your blast pattern is. You have control of your blast pressure. So if you're doing a light panel, you don't want to hit it at 100 PSI. You might want to hit it at 40 PSI. You might want to blast at 10 PSI. This unit is capable of doing that. This unit has a couple of other features on it. If I want to blast wet, I simply turn my water on and I turn my abrasive on. I'm blasting wet. If I want to blast dry, I'm blasting dry. Now that my workpiece is blasted, I now have to clean that workpiece off. So by going in to wash down and shutting my abrasive off, now I have air and water only, so I can flush that surface down and get all of the foreign matter off. Once I'm done with that, I simply turn my water back off and I get air only at that nozzle so I can dry that workpiece so you can get your primer coat on it and not worry about flash rusting.
Well, Schmidt Products is world renowned for its quality and for its ease of use. You can check them out online. And we'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHO, your protective coatings, on the road at Raptor Blaster right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. And by Keller Performance Products, manufacturing extreme duty ball joints for Polaris, Can-Am, Honda, and Kawasaki UTVs.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. We are in Sacramento, hanging out at the headquarters of Raptor Blaster, and John Herbert is the director of sales here. John, we've sort of had the 101 on blasting and how it works. So tell me about Raptor Blaster and how it stands apart from the others that are out there.
Well, we're out here on the West Coast and we have close to $1 million of inventory of abrasives and equipment, and we can service anybody in the United States. We actually have customers in France and in the Marshall Islands that we service, and I think our combined experience helps customers with problems, and that's the name of the game in abrasive blasting: keep the equipment up and running.
What kind of experience are we talking about with you guys?
Well, I've been in the industry for 30 years, both in service, parts, and sales. And we have a guy, Jerry, here that's been in the industry for 15 years, and he actually ran commercial job sites for sandblasting. And everybody here is real familiar with the Raptor line of cabinets, and you call in and somebody's going to be able to give you the correct part for whatever may be wrong with your equipment. And we also sell parts for anybody's equipment here at Raptor Blaster.
How important is it for you to help folks out when they need assistance? You're not just sending a cabinet out and saying good luck to you.
No, it's all about service after the sale. We have a 2-year warranty on the cabinets, and it's pretty much no questions asked. If something fails in the field, we get that out to you. The other manufacturers we represent have very good warranties. They're leaders in the industry, and you've seen some of that earlier.
And how much do you have in stock? If I need a part right away, how quick can I get it?
So basically any of the parts for our Raptor cabinets are in stock, and for major lines we have parts in stock that are compatible with most blast equipment out in the field.
And you guys are strategically placed here on the West Coast, which helps you a lot with the East Coast customers.
Yeah, we get a lot of East Coast customers. There are also distributors of the lines that we distribute that will be referred to us so we can overnight a part and get them back up and running on the East Coast or the Midwest. And I think our UPS cutoff time's around 3 o'clock Pacific, so that works out well.
You guys are hooked up with Schmidt Products, as we've talked about. How important is it to have such a good partner and somebody whose products you can back up?
Schmidt is a leader in the industry. They started in the oil refinery and the shipyard business, and they make great products that really don't need a whole lot of attention, a few maintenance items, and that's it.
Bill, what is it like for you to be affiliated with a company like Raptor Blaster?
Look, we have a really good relationship with Raptor Blaster. They are a very professional group. They support their products. On their manufacturing side, they build a really nice product. So it's a really nice blend between what Raptor does and what we do with the Schmidt products, because it's about quality, it's about service to the industry. It's not just putting another product out into the market like many others do. We are passionate about this, about bringing that value to the customer.
How do your products compare to what Raptor Blaster sells, and why is it such a good partnership?
Raptor Blaster manufactures a product that's primarily used in like an industrial sector, a smaller shop. Most of our products are really destined for the industrial sector, you know, from road blasters to ship blasters, et cetera, But what we have done here lately is we have started building products on a smaller scale to kind of give us an edge into a restoration business, a smaller type of a contractor, you know, that market that is really new to us. So for us to be partnered with Raptor Blaster, who is accustomed to that industry, really gives us a nice advantage in coming into a new marketplace with our new products.
Rick, how proud are you of what you've built here?
Very proud. I mean, we really strive to make every customer of ours 100% happy, and we have the experience with our staff to do that. And that's what makes me the most proud.
Well, between the quality of the product and the service, Rick, you have so much to be proud of, and we're glad you brought us out here to Raptor Blaster. Thank you for joining us for this adventure here on the road. We'll be back in the studio next week, so be sure to join us then. You can check us out on Facebook in the meantime, and until next week, from our entire crew, we'll see you here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.